This is Long Way to the Top, and I'm your host, Shane Bryan. Now, before the world sang along to Gold and True, before Spandau Ballet became the global pop icons, there was a group of London visionaries who helped invent the sound and the style of a generation. From the pulse of the Blitz Club to the catwalks and clubs of New York and Ibiza, Spandau Ballet weren't just part of the 80s, they shaped it. Now, with the release of Everything Is Now Volume 1, the definitive early years box set, we get to step back into the formative years, the experiments, the fashion, the friendships, and the fearless innovation that led to Journeys, to Glory, and Diamond, and ultimately to classics like Gold, Communication, and True. Joining me, one of the men at the heart of that story, actor, musician, cultural icon, Martin Kemp. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much for that. That's a nice way to be woken up in the morning.
It is. Now, look, you put out this incredible album. It covers all of the years leading up to that big moment. When you look back at the first years, what emotions surface listening to the raw early Spandau Ballet again?
Oh, they are the most exciting years for me. I mean, to be honest, forget about True and Gold and all those tracks. If you're in a band, the most exciting memories that you have are the ones that are the early ones, the ones that get you going. You know, the ones that you started off as when you were just kids in school, then dreaming of being a rock star. And those for me, they're the most precious memories. Yeah. So I think what we've tried to do, we put together this box set where there's a book included, there's the first two albums, there's loads of unreleased demo tapes that are really interesting to listen to. And it's even more so for me in a way now because I'm at that age where it doesn't feel like me anymore. It feels like somebody else. When I listen to it, it feels like somebody else. When I see videos of myself on television as that young 17-year-old kid, it doesn't feel like me anymore. Yeah. But so in a way, I kind of appreciate it in the same way that everyone else does.
Yeah. What was it like going through all of that material again? It would have been like uncovering diamonds again.
I realized that I should have practiced more. You know, there's good and bad memories with all of it. You know, I remember really clearly, like, to cut long story short, and the Freeze, how big they were straight away. You know, to cut long story short was number 5 in the charts 2 months after we'd signed that very first record contract, and was selling the bucket loads, and so that was really exciting. But along with that comes the paranoia and the stress that it's all going to come crashing down straight away. So I remember sitting in bars with the other guys in a band and waiting for the chart positions to come in. And when they weren't very good, you know, from Musclebound to Instinction and all of those, the records that struggled slightly, it was a real downer, and you had to really hold it together. Because it could have gone the other way and gone off the edge of the cliff, and not that, you know, that would have been it. Goodbye, Spandau.
Yeah. Well, look, maybe, I mean, like you were at the Blitz Club. Let's go back to the very beginning.
Sure.
At the Blitz Club, and it's pretty legendary now. I mean, you know, there's an actual display that you can go and see the incredible fashion of the Blitz Club now, which is amazing.
Well, it's in a museum. So, you know, they've opened it in a Kensington Design Museum. It was all about the Blitz Club, to be honest. You know, the Blitz for me was a club that only happened on a Tuesday night. It was run by the legendary Steve Strange, who was my best friend. And so it only happened on a Tuesday. So it was a really special night. It was like the whole week revolved around that Tuesday night. But I remember clearly the first time I went there and walking in the door, and it was this explosion of colour.
Yeah.
When I think back to the late 70s and punk that came before it, the pop culture that came before it, it was all about, it felt to me like it was all in black and white. It felt like it was all about ripped jeans. It was about black leather jackets. It was about no future. Nothing was possible. the country around it was
Yes.
falling apart at that point. And you walked inside the door of the Blitz in the very early or late 79, early 80. And it was like the world had just flicked on the color switch.
Yes.
It wasn't just about what the guys were wearing, it was the androgyny of it all. There was boys kissing boys and girls kissing girls. There was the boys dressed up as girls and the girls wearing suits. And it was, you could be whoever you wanted to be within that space.
Yeah.
And for me, I thought it was the most wonderful way that you could ever grow up, you know, to bring that on board.
Did it go hand in hand with the music of the time? You know, it was the start of the new romantic.
It was the start of the new romantic. So I mean, the Blitz was the new romantics.
Yeah.
If you were transported back there today, you would most probably look around and think, how weird is this? But if you put it in place in pop cultural kind of timeline, coming out of punk, where punks were mohiking their hair, dyeing red, and you know, wearing ripped clothes. If you put new romantics after that, then it doesn't seem so strange.
Yes.
It's you know, shoulder pads and people dressed up as pirates or people dressed up as cowboys. It really doesn't seem that strange if you look at the way that punks were wearing.
Yeah.
So it was just a follow on, but it was a colourful version of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Now, take us back to that first Blitz performance when Chris Blackwell from Island Records actually offered you a deal mid-set. I mean, you hadn't even finished the set.
Yeah, it was in the Blitz Club. It was Steve Strange had offered us this gig for his birthday in the Blitz Club, and it was we knew as a band that it was make or break for us.
Yes.
You know, it was the first time we were playing to the guys in the Blitz. We hadn't even though we were going to the Blitz, we hadn't really told anybody in the Blitz that we even had a band, because before that we were say a power pop group. Yeah. It was called Gentry. It wasn't ready to be announced to the Blitz. And because the Blitz when Rusty Egan in the Blitz, the DJ, was playing all this electronic kind of German music, like Kraftwerk. Yeah. And so what we did was we spent a couple of months in the band replacing all of those lead guitar riffs with synth riffs. Yeah. And the synth was a new instrument then, so it was a kind of like that monophonic sound that you would get. It wasn't that big spread ABC sound that we know as synths. It was this monophonic thing that went very
Kraftwerk,
you know,
very Kraftwerk, yeah.
So we replaced all of that, but then we played the gig at the Blitz, and it wasn't just him that was in the audience. There were several other record companies as well, because I think the vibe around the Blitz at the time and the vibe that had been created in the press were waiting. Everybody was waiting for a figurehead, in the same way that a musical figurehead, in the same way that rock had the Rolling Stones, in the same way that mods had the Who. They were waiting for one to represent New Romantics, and it was Spandau Ballet who took the centre stage.
Yes, yes. Gary Kemp actually once, your brother, once described the band as the architects of our own scene, and you were.
Yeah, we were. I mean, it was a strange place to be, because it wasn't just Spandau Ballet in that nucleus of the New Romantics. There were people that were designing art. There were people from London School of Fashion that were designing fashion. Yeah. There were people that were taking photographs, and it was almost like whatever you wanted to be. There was, let's get it right, there was only probably 150 people in that small Blitz Club. Yeah. But it seemed like for a period of time that whoever you wanted to be and whatever you wanted to make out your life, you could, and it would come true. And it was, I remember standing in the Blitz talking to Boy George, and Boy George said to me, what I want is exactly what you want. I want to be in a band. I want to be a singer in a band. A couple of weeks later, is on top of the
Yeah.
pops. And it was whatever you wanted to be was possible, which kind of is the difference between punk, where there was no future,
Yes.
to being in the center of the new romantic, which was we wanted everything to be possible.
Yeah.
And I think that was the difference between the two pop cultures.
Yes. Yes. Where did Spandau Ballet come from? The name.
The name. Well, we were called Gentry as this power pop
Yes.
band, and one Saturday morning we invited like probably 10 or 12 guys down from the Blitz who were the faces of the Blitz.
Yes.
The ones that if they said something was good, then it was taken for gospel that something was good. So we invited 10 or 12 of those down to a small rehearsal room. And we played a few songs for them, and they loved it. And they, at the end of it, they said, "Listen, the band's great, but the name's terrible," which it was. It was a leftover power pop name.
Yeah.
And one of the guys called Robert Elms, who's a broadcaster, said, a broadcaster now, said, "Look, why don't you call it Spandau Ballet?" And we said, "Yeah, it sounds great. It sounds kind of exciting, you know." Better than Islington Ballet, where we came from. So we took that on, and it was only later that we found out that he had seen the name. He had just come back from Berlin, and he had seen the name written on the toilet wall, Spandau Ballet, and it actually belonged to somebody else. It was another band's name. And my brother will tell you a story where he was walking down Oxford Street one time, and there was a German guy chasing after him going, "You stole our name, you stole our name." But back in the day, you know, there was no Facebook and there was no internet. So whoever came up with the name first, that belonged to you.
And whoever was the most famous, it belonged to them as well.
But if you know, back in the day, it was down to whoever had that first hit.
Yes.
That was your name.
Yes, yes, very much so. Now, there was also another period where you went to Ibiza, and that was probably just as exciting as well. But there's an interesting story that I have to ask you about, and it involves a bull and 3,000 fans.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was the beginning of club culture in Ibiza that we hadn't seen before. It was the super clubs, and there was a club there called the Coup Club, and it was massive. I'd never seen anything like it. It was all outdoors. It was filled with beautiful people with suntans, which I hadn't seen before.
Coming from England.
And in the center of the club, this outdoor club, was a swimming pool.
Yeah.
But as you know, back in the day, everything was over the top. Yeah. And at the end of the evening, they released a ball. And the ball, this small, but it was a baby ball, but it was still a ball. Yeah. And I looked around and it was coming after me. And I looked down, and what I was wearing was this red Robin Hood outfit. And I looked down at the cape, and I thought, no, this isn't right. And I had to climb up some stanchion to get away from this thing. But in the end, they got it. And listen, it was a mad time.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I guess there's a lot of restoration that's happening, and true fans of this collection will love the fact that you've breathed a lot of life into the old recordings. Going back and putting life into those recordings again, did it blow you away with the quality and what we can do now, as opposed to what we were able to do back then?
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Even recording at home nowadays sounds professional. You know, you don't have to use that 24-track multi-tape system that we used to use. When I look back at some of the studios that we used to use, and I was in Abbey Road not long ago, and I was looking around where we used to record sometimes, and honestly, it looks like as if the Beatles had just been in the room.
Yeah.
You know, it was tape as big as this. And I'll give you an example. If you were in the studio and you wanted to create echo,
Yeah.
right? So echo is easy as anything nowadays. You just press the button, you get echo, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to create echo while you were recording, you know the 24 tracks machines that with the thick old tape and the big reels
Yeah.
that you used to record onto, you would bring in 4 or 5 of those machines and you would send the tape around 4 or 5 of those machines, so you would get ba 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 ba.
Right.
You would get echo like that, and that is how long ago it was. It
Yeah.
was. It's ridiculous. It's come on so far now, but it came on quickly in the 80s as well because technology was changing at a real pace as well. You know, we invented the synths, which changed everything. We invented digital, which changed everything, and I think we started in the early days that were left over from the late 70s in the same way that Led Zeppelin would record.
Yes.
And then pretty much by the time we got to 84, 85, we were what you know today as that sound, that Trevor Horn sound that sounds beautiful, where records still stand up today in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah. And they do. Looking back, what do you think, and especially during that period, that 78 to 82, what do you think Spandau Ballet contributed most to British music and culture?
I don't think it was. I don't think it was brand new. I think it was the end of the line of great British pop culture, and I think that's disappeared nowadays.
Yeah.
I think what we have now is pop culture is kids sitting behind a laptop or a screen, and that is their pop culture.
Yeah.
But when we started that new romantic movement, it came after a long line of teddy boys, of punk, of goths, new romantics. For me, it was the last of the great pop cultures that we will see. Yeah. And I'm not sure kids at the moment get the most out of life sitting behind a screen.
Yeah,
you know,
kind of all turned to Britpop, and then it was just all turned to crap from there, didn't it? Really, I mean, you know.
But listen, we all do it. It's not just kids.
We do. That point where you know, and of course, this leads up to that 80, 82 mark. You know, 83, everything changed. What was that point where everything changed?
I think what happened was the first album came out, Journeys to Glory came out, and it was, everybody knows your first album with a band is probably the easiest one you will ever make because you have been playing those tracks for so long, you've played them live, you've lived with them for probably 2 years before you even record them, right? Yeah. And that is your first album. Your second album comes along and it's a completely different game. For us, it was Diamond. It was trying to write songs and record them for the first time ever under the pressure of time. Yes. And you knew that record company were waiting for that album. So you had to put it together as fast as you could. I think on our second album, Diamond, the first side was really great. I think it was a follow-on from Journeys to Glory. The second side is really interesting because it was almost like experimental Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
You know, it was like we lost our way in a way. You know, we didn't really know where to take it because we were discovering ourselves and growing as a band. Yeah. And it wasn't until that came out that we realized that, hang on a second, we've got to, write some pop songs here. Yes. And that is the beginning of the true album. And I think that's what changed.
Was it pressure from the record labels to say you need to write a radio hit?
No, it wasn't anything to do with anyone saying anything to us about it. It was literally people deciding not to buy it. Was the
putting food on your table, right?
Yeah, it's what I was saying earlier. You know, we were always in fear that it was going to be our last day of Spandau Ballet because you never knew where it was going to go. And we never knew that the true and gold and only when you leave were just around the corner to save us. But the second side of Diamond, when the record company listened to it, that could have been our last.
Yes, yes. Now, speaking of the last days of Spandau Ballet, there's a lot of people, you know, you go into the forums and you say that you see them and they say, we want the band to get back together, the original band to get back together and have one big last hurrah. Is that ever going to happen?
Yeah. Is it? Excuse me. Made me choke.
Sorry about that.
No, listen, I am old enough and wise enough to never say never again.
Yes.
You know, but there's a lot of factors within Spandau. There's a lot of history that we have that has been really difficult. And to be honest with you, I can't sit here today and say it is. Yes. As much as one day I would like it to happen, but can I see it happening at the moment? I can't.
Regrets? Do you have any?
Pardon?
Do you have any regrets?
Regrets? Do I have any? Yeah, we all have regrets, don't we? You know, the band was lucky enough to last for well over 10 years at the top. Is a long time for any band. We all of us, if you ask anybody in a band, you have regrets. Yeah. But then you have to weigh it up against the remembering the type of pressure cooker that you were in and remembering the stress levels that everybody went through at that point. And also you have to remember that, you know, I signed that first record deal when I was 18 years old. Yes. So the band were 18 and 19. We were kids. Yeah. And it's taken, you know, I sit here today talking about it and I'm 63. Yeah. So it's a lifetime ago. It is. And everybody, when you're young kids, no matter what business you're in, you make mistakes and you have regrets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, on a personal level, I've got to ask, you went from music to a regular gig on EastEnders, right? Now,
yeah, well,
we've got an artist in Australia, or she's actually in the UK and in France and wherever she decides to be at the moment, who went from Neighbours to music, and that's Kylie Minogue. Have you ever, you know, wanted to put out a record with Kylie?
Say it again. You're breaking up, Shane.
So Kylie Minogue did the opposite. She went from Neighbours into music. Have you ever wanted to put out a record or a song with Kylie?
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll tell you what, give Kylie my number and get her to call me.
No, I was hoping you'd have Kylie's number for me. Look, it's been fabulous. The box set, it is a piece of history. If, of course, you're heading over to England, you've got to go to the National Museum and check out the Blitz Club display as well. How long will that be in place? How long will the Blitz Club display be in place?
Sorry, Shane, you're breaking up a little bit, but I think it's going to be there for the next few months.
Right. Yep.
It's a proper exhibition in the Kensington Design Museum. Yeah. And it's a wonderful thing to be. It's almost like what they've tried to create there is the idea that you are walking into the Blitz Club. Yeah. And there's clothes and there's real history from that period, from that time. Yeah. So it's a lovely one to go and see if you're in the country.
In England. Excellent. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Martin Kemp, for joining me on the show, and all the best with this incredible box set that you've put out.
Thanks, mate. Lovely talking to you.
You too. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Long Way to the Top. Hit plus or follow to subscribe to the podcast, and head over to Facebook at the Long Way to the Top podcast and give us a like. Keep on rocking, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Long Way to the Top.